Okay, it's time for our next presenter, who is Tony Newsome from Dallas PD. Officer Newsome will be explaining the serious consequences for students engaging in the Devious Lick Challenge and what you as a parent can do to start the conversation.
All right, good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Elizabeth. How's everyone doing this morning? Once again, my name is Tony Newsome, and we are going to be discussing the youthful internet trends, and this one is going to be TikTok, and we're going to talk about the Devious Lick Challenge. Can you change the slide for me, please? All right. Once again, I'm Tony Newsome. I am assigned to Dallas Police Department's Internet Crimes Against Children's Unit, other words known as ICAC. We are funded by the state as well as federal grant, and we investigate internet crimes. All right, next slide. Now, when our kids are online, these are some of the risks that come involved with them posting and communicating with individuals online. Number one, we see here inappropriate conduct, inappropriate contact, as well as inappropriate content. And today we're going to focus on inappropriate conduct and inappropriate content. All right, next slide. When our kids are online, and any of us, I'm sure we have some form of social media, because that's kind of the way of this era, is to go online and we want people to like the things we post. We want to share photos and videos, and we're trying to get as many views as we possibly can. With that comes some very, very major issues, especially now concerning not just the Dallas Independent School District, but concerning school districts around the country. And that is TikTok. Next slide, please. TikTok. TikTok is kind of the new wave. TikTok was made public here in the United States in 2017. It was initially known as Musical.ly. So Musical.ly and TikTok kind of combined, and they decided to keep the name TikTok. All right, next slide. For those of you who aren't aware, TikTok is a social media forum that allows kids and really anyone to go online to post short videos. These videos consist of like new dance craze as well as comedy and educational information. These videos will last anywhere from 15 seconds to 3 minutes. All right, next slide. All right. Now, let's discuss this. This is known as the Devious Lick Challenge. This challenge actually started in this year, September the 6th. A young man decided that he was going to go to school and he was going to post himself removing a soap dispenser from the bathroom and placing it in his backpack. This initiated what is currently known as the Devious Lick Challenge. And the challenge actually involves students destroying or stealing property from school campuses, such as destroying sinks, computers, stealing computers, soap dispensers, paper dispensers, among other things. We've seen kids take things as well, such as toilet paper, and just fill the toilets with toilet paper, flushing it and causing major, major water damage at many schools around the country. Next slide, please. Here we see where in Arizona, this is just one of the stories that they decided to do. They posted a news story of someone who has stolen the soap dispenser. Next slide. We see a young man here who has what he believes is the most devious lick, where he is stealing a door from school. In the middle, we have a young lady here who is actually laughing because of the devious slick that was done here with someone removing the toilet from the bathroom. Next, we have a young man who felt that he has the most devious slick by stealing school computers. Next slide. And we see here the toilet sitting in the middle of the bathroom. Now, with the devious lick for a lot of these kids, what they don't understand, number one, is they're following what they believe is the current trend. Every single one of them wants more views and more likes for their post. But what they don't realize is what they're doing is actually posting and leaving evidence of a crime. And we're going to talk about those crimes. And probably the biggest issue is when they're posting these things, what they don't realize is that they're posting themselves actually committing the crime, which makes it easier for the schools as well as law enforcement to solve the crime. And that photo and video is going to be utilized against them for evidence whenever this makes it to court, or when they sit down in front of the principal for disciplinary action. And once again, this is an issue that has been going on around the country ever since September the 6th. Now, the good thing about these challenges is that they don't normally last for very long, but this is an issue. And this isn't the first issue that we've had concerning the challenge with TikTok. TikTok, prior to this, had what was known as a milk crate challenge, where we had a lot of people ended up getting seriously hurt and injured from being involved in that challenge. And then when the coronavirus first hit, they had a coronavirus challenge where kids were going out licking on door handles, handles from shopping carts and things of that nature. So for parents, I suggest that you educate yourself on some of the different challenges that are coming out there, that are being posted online, because it seems as time goes on, these things get what they consider more devious. This challenge is just what we're dealing with now, but I promise you, it's just going to progress and it's going to end up getting worse. So parents, the best thing for you to do is to educate yourself and talk to your child about the things that they're doing online, because once again, if it affects your child, parents, it's going to end up affecting you, and it's going to end up affecting you financially. So we're going to talk about that a little later as well. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, we have kids here that are stealing phones, walking through the school hallway here with tables. And then we see where someone has dumped a soap dispenser as well as toilet paper into the toilet. All right, next slide. Because all of these things, what they're going to lead to, they're going to lead to school suspension. They're going to lead to kids ruining their opportunities to attend college. And probably what they don't consider when they're doing these things is that it's going to also lead to jail time as well as fines. And believe it or not, we've had a lot of kids to find out the hard way that there are definitely real life consequences to the things that they do online. Next slide. And these are going to be some of the related charges concerning the devious lick challenge. The first one we're going to look at is theft. Now, it is a misdemeanor if the property that they steal is valued at $100 to $2,500. And when they do that, they're looking at serving up to 1 year in jail, and the fine is at $4,000. Now, if anything that they steal is over the value of $2,500 to $300,000, then that's considered a felony. And they're looking at prison time up to 20 years. And that fine carries up to $10,000. So parents, it's very important that you inform your kids of this. And let me say this, I would be proactive if I was a parent and informing my kids about these things involving not just this challenge, but any other challenge that may come about in the future. That these are the things that they're looking at. Next slide, please. Now, the next charge is going to be criminal mischief. As a misdemeanor, criminal mischief, if the value of the property damaged is at $50 to $1,500, then that's considered as a misdemeanor here in the state of Texas. If you do get involved in anything of that nature and you are charged, you're looking at up to 1 year in jail, and that fine is up to $4,000. If you end up damaging property and that property damage goes from $1,500 to $200,000, you're looking at a felony. And you're looking at serving up anywhere between 5 to 99 years in prison. And that fine is at $10,000. Once again, parents, when these kids are doing this, they don't see this and they don't understand that there are consequences to their actions. And they don't understand that that comes with possible jail time as well as a fine. And I don't know any kid that makes $4,000 or $10,000 a year. So parents, that's going to end up coming out of your pockets. So I suggest, in order to make sure that your kid doesn't get involved in any of these things, it's time for you to have the conversation. And we're going to talk about the things that you need to discuss with them as well. And just to let you know, next slide, please, that if your kid is charged with criminal mischief due to the devious lick challenge or anything involving the school, and they damage any property, I want you to understand that by the school being having educational programs and by it being a school, they could easily be charged automatically with the state jail charge, which is a felony if it's less than $20,000, meaning that everything that I stated before concerning the criminal mischief goes out of the window. And if they are charged with criminal mischief, they're going to end up, chances are, since it's a school, they're going to end up being charged with a straight state jail felony. Just to let you know. So parents, please, you've got to have your conversation with your kids about this. Now, one thing I will say about TikTok, next slide, please. TikTok has done a great job of making sure that that any content surrounding the devious lick challenge has been removed. Now, kids have gotten around that a bit by entitling their different posts concerning these videos, like misspelling devious or placing other titles on it. But I will give TikTok a lot of credit that they've gone in and filtered those and removed those. But the devious lick challenge has now been posted on YouTube. So they've taken the TikTok videos and actually moved them to YouTube. So parents, please be aware of this. And if you want to see what some of these videos or these posts look like, go to YouTube. You can see them there. Just put in the search bar, devious lick challenge, and you can see them posted. And when you sit down and talk to your child, maybe it's a good time for you to view those with your child, to let your child know exactly how you feel about the content that they're watching and making sure that they don't take part in that. All right, next slide. All right, initiate the conversation. How do you do that? You initiate the conversation by using everyday events, such as I mentioned before, about just taking your child to YouTube and looking at the different news stories that are out there about kids taking part in the devious lick challenge and talking about the consequences. And once you look at those stories, see what those kids were charged with. And let your child know that, hey, that's what's awaiting them if they get involved in these things. And please inform them that those videos and their posts is going to be used as evidence against them when they prepare to go to trial for this, or when the principal brings them in for disciplinary action. So in all actuality, when the kids are posting this stuff, they are actually snitching on themselves. So parents, just have a conversation with them about some of these issues and what you see going on today in the schools. Next slide. All right, when you have that conversation, be honest with them. Let them know exactly what you expect from them when they're online. Let them know what your expectations are. Communicate with them your values, and you want them to make sure that when they're online that they maintain the values that you have for them. And when you do that, they'll allow your kids to make smarter decisions whenever they're online. And let them know exactly what you deem as acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Next slide. Now, I suggest parents, when you do this, please remain calm if your child gets involved in anything online that's inappropriate, because what you need to understand is that for them, this is a way of life. I know for a lot of us, we didn't grow up with these things. I know me, I grew up in the dinosaur age where we didn't have cell phones. Our video game system was an Atari. So understand that your kids are growing up in a totally different age, and this is something that they do. But with that being said, make sure your child understands that just because these are things that your friends are doing online doesn't mean that it's okay for them to do. Once again, that goes back to you informing them about what your expectations for them online, and you informing them of your values and morals when it comes to them posting. All right, next slide, please. So parents, be patient and be supportive whenever you're having this conversation with them, or if you see them doing something wrong online, or when you discuss with them about this devious lick challenge and other challenges that may come about in the future. Take your time and do not rush through the conversation. Repeat the information in small doses and allow it to sink in. And let me say this, having a conversation with your child is not a one-time thing. Having a conversation with them is like planting a seed and watering it and allowing it to grow, because you're going to have to continue to water that plant, meaning you're going to have to continue to have this conversation with your kids about their online actions, their online life, their online communications, their online posting. It's going to be a continual conversation, and work hard to keep that line of communications open with them, and listen and take into account their feelings. Okay, once again, for a lot of us, this is something that's totally new since we didn't grow up with these things, but our kids, for them and some of the things that they're doing online, it's very important that they have an online existence. But with that online existence, they have to make sure that that they utilize and make smart decisions. All right. Now, okay, so remind your kids once again that their online actions have real life consequences, such as the charges that I mentioned before. I promise you, the majority of the kids, they have absolutely no idea that they could get into that kind of trouble taking part in these devious challenges. So parents, it's up to you to inform them and let them know. I saw a video here recently. As a matter of fact, it was a TikTok video of a parent having a conversation with his daughter about being involved in the devious lick challenge. It was funny because he had a belt and he was just hitting the belt in his hand saying, hey, if you get involved in this, if I get a call from your school about you being involved in the devious lick challenge, I've got something devious for you. Now, am I suggesting that you do that? No, not necessarily. But it was just funny that the parent decided, hey, you know what? It's time for us to have this conversation. I haven't gotten that phone call yet, but I want to let you know what's awaiting you if I do. So, parents, once again, inform your kids that their online actions have real life consequences, okay, which includes their the words and things that they post. Make sure that their conversations that they have online with their friends are an appropriate one. Believe it or not, my son is he is a college football player. And when he was being recruited, the first thing the coaches did was went through all his social media posts. And believe it or not, colleges are doing that too when you apply for their universities, not just for athletes, they're doing that for all students. So make sure that when your child is online, make sure that the images and the words that they use online are appropriate. And also inform them that once they post something online, they can't take it back. There has not been a program that allows an individual to delete their online post, meaning you can delete it off your post, you can delete it off your account, but it's still floating out there online. No one has created a program to delete your digital footprint online. I want to make that very clear. If you have an account and you decide to shut your account down, guess what? That account, anyone with any knowledge on how to revive that account can do so. So parents, please have this conversation with your child. Make sure that you state to them, think before you post, because once you post it, that's it. You can't take it back. You can't delete it. You may be able to delete it off your account, but guess what? It's still floating out there in cyberspace. And anyone with any knowledge on how to retrieve it can do so. And we here in our Internet Crimes Against Children's unit, we do that on a regular basis whenever we need to make our cases. So it is definitely possible that that knowledge is not just for law enforcement, it's for anyone who has that information, and they will utilize it. So once again, parents, have that conversation and just remind your kids of these things. Okay. Next slide, please. All right. Tips for the parents to make sure they keep it positive. Also discuss your child's profile. Make sure that their profile name is an appropriate one. Make sure you stay aware of who they're communicating with and what they're posting online. Establish social media guidelines, such as they're only allowed to communicate with friends and family. Make sure you go through the definition of what a friend is, because in this day and time, kids believe that a friend is someone that they meet online, since on some of these different social media forums, when a follower follows you, they're listed as your friend. So I know it may sound trivial, but parents, it's very important. Also, talk to your child about personal information, such as their name, their home address, your name, your spouse's name, because kids will go online and they'll begin to communicate with these individuals and they'll post this information online. And when they post this, guess what? If they post your name or your wife's name, it's easy for someone to plug your wife's name or your name into Google and locate your home address. So make sure you talk to your kids about personal information and make sure they don't post that information online. Okay. And once again, inform your kids of your expectations. Let them know what you expect them to do when they're online. Let them know that, hey, you want to make sure that when they're online, they don't post anything inappropriate. Make sure that they never communicate with strangers online. And also, most importantly, parents, make sure that your kids never, ever meet anyone in person that they've met online. We've had several cases here in our ICAC office where we've had kids who have met individuals online through the video game known as Roblox. So please make sure that you talk to your kids about these things. All right. Next slide, please. And parents, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask that you don't want to present today and you'd like to ask me one-on-one, you are more than welcome to contact me at this number, 214-671-3354, or you can reach me at my email address, anthony.newsom@dallascityhall.com, and I'd be more than happy to help you and assist you in any way that I possibly can. All right. Thank you guys so very much. Do we have any questions?
Officer Newsom, I'm not sure, it's more of a, we actually do have a question, but I'll go to Arete Henry. She asked, like, my child, like, I guess her student saw something, another student removing a soap dispenser at her school. So who would they report that to? And I'm assuming you probably wouldn't know that, but as far as we're concerned on this end for the district, it's just reporting it to the principal possibly.
Okay. Say principal, teacher, I guess any adult at the school, correct, that would be able to assist them, anyone that works there, and, you know, let them handle it and just kind of go from there. And that's another thing. I'm glad you mentioned that, because to be truthful about it, when these kids do these things and they think that they get away with it, guess what? It's the students there at school, and I will commend the students for this. It's the students at school that are informing the teachers and the school administration that this kind of stuff is happening and who's taking part in it. And the reason why that is important is because whether these kids realize it or not, when they do this at the school, they're affecting all of the students, the entire student body. If you have a restroom that closes down, guess what? That affects all the kids. If there's a problem with the plumbing, who does that affect? That affects all the students. So yes, make sure that they continue to inform, like I said, the principal or teacher, and I just tip my hat to the kids that are standing up.
And then we have another one in our Q&A. It says, can this be something that that you can share with schools, a video of some sort to inform our students and staff?
Yes, I am available to conduct presentations throughout the Dallas Independent School District. All you have to do is email me or contact me at the number that I have listed here. And we could plug any school in the calendar. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to make sure that I stay on top of the different trends that are currently happening here online, and to kind of help out the district and inform the kids of the different consequences for their online actions. And I also
sorry, Officer Newsom, just to back up what you said, we've shared your information with all our coaches, who then shared it with all their community liaisons and parent instructors, so they have your information as well and are able to call you as well from.
Okay, thank you so very much. I really appreciate that.
Any more questions? Okay, Officer Newsom, I think that is all for the questions. We really do greatly appreciate your presentation.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so very much. You guys have a great weekend.
Likewise.